after he went missing in Africa for 3 days.
So he went off. He had to go away. Meghan was screaming at him because it was just shocking.
The Duke of Sussex is no longer suitable member of the royal family. Now, the mainstream media are ignoring this astonishing story.
Prince Harry was gone, vanished. No calls, no security team, no updates, and most shocking of all, not a single word to Meghan. For 3 full days, the Duke of Sussex went completely off the grid somewhere in Botswana, Africa, and no one, not even his wife, had a clue where he was. And yet, while this bombshell story was swirling behind the scenes, the British media was dead silent. Nothing. As if a prince disappearing into the African bush was just business as usual. But we've seen this playbook before, haven't we? A media machine working overtime to protect Harry, to shield Meghan, and to lay the groundwork for a royal reconciliation, one that many believe will spell doom for the monarchy. And this time, it's going further than ever. What actually happened during those 3 days in Botswana? Why did Harry suddenly disappear without telling a soul? And who is this mysterious woman they're now calling his African mom? The answers to those questions are both revealing and disturbing, because what they say about Harry's mental state, his relationship with Meghan, and the chaos brewing behind palace doors might just be the final nail in the coffin for the Sussex brand. Let's start with the basics. According to insiders, Prince Harry disappeared for over 72 hours while in Botswana, a country he's known to visit for emotional escape. He reportedly had no contact with his wife, no visible security detail, and blew off any scheduled obligations. Meghan? Left completely in the dark. The royal family? Silent. His team? Unreachable. The only name that came up during this strange saga was T.J. Evans, a woman described as a mother figure to Harry, someone he's been close to since his teen years. That's the person he allegedly sought out in this latest emotional spiral. Now, to some, that might sound like a man in need of grounding, personal getaway. But to others, it looks more like a royal unraveling. A man no longer tethered to the family he betrayed, nor the wife he once adored. A man adrift. And while the Daily Telegraph, the very paper the Queen herself read every morning, is now inexplicably publishing opinion pieces begging King Charles and Prince William to take Harry back, one has to wonder, are we watching a redemption arc, or a staged comeback meant to salvage the Sussexes' collapsing empire? Angela Levin didn't mince words. The outspoken royal commentator called Harry's disappearance act the final straw. She said flatly, Harry is no longer a suitable or respectable member of the royal family. And can anyone really argue with that? This is a man who ghosted his wife and kids, ditched security protocol, and went completely silent for days in a foreign country, just weeks after being caught looking disheveled and erratic in a London alleyway. And the media wants us to believe this is a prince worthy of a second chance? Make no mistake, this story isn't just about a missing royal. It's about the dangerous narrative that's being constructed around his return. According to Levin, Meghan likely panicked when Harry vanished. Her history, she says, is full of public meltdowns and private control. The idea that Harry could run off, alone, off the leash, would have sent Meghan into a tailspin. Because for Meghan, control is currency, image is everything. And a husband who goes missing without permission? That's not part of the plan. Levin even floated something deeper, that Harry may have gone to T.J. Evans seeking advice not just on his life, but possibly on leaving Meghan altogether. Now that's speculation, yes. But if you look at the context, Harry's erratic behavior, his increasing public silence, and the desperate spin from Team Sussex about new Netflix projects that never seem to materialize, it paints a bleak picture. A man isolated, manipulated, and slowly realizing he may have backed the wrong horse. And speaking of Netflix, let's not forget the timing. This off-grid episode occurred right as rumors exploded about Netflix finally pulling the plug on their $100 million deal. A deal that, let's be honest, never delivered. Meghan's Jam Jars and Rose brand, her failed podcast, Harry's awkward Heart of Invictus drop. It all fell flat. And when Variety asked Meghan what we should expect next, she smiled and said there were so many exciting things on the slate. That was 2 years ago. And where are they? Angela Levin put it bluntly. Netflix doesn't care. Their experiment with Meghan was just that, an experiment. One they didn't invest in, didn't promote, and are now quietly walking away from. The real buzz behind the scenes? They're banking on the post-divorce content. That's right. Netflix knows that if this marriage crumbles, the real goldmine is what comes after. Harry's next book, Meghan's solo tell-all, the breakup specials, the uncoupled but thriving documentary tour. That's what they're waiting for. Which brings us to Harry's so-called peace offering. Charlotte Griffiths from the Mail on Sunday, now dubbed by critics as the new Omid Scobie, claims Harry has extended an olive branch by agreeing to share his royal diary, not with Prince William but directly with King Charles. A soft maneuver to rebuild trust, we're told. But is it really a peace offering or just more Sussex theater? Angela Levin didn't buy it for a second. She said Harry's diary is meaningless, full of fluff and mostly an empty gesture. More importantly, she said what everyone's thinking. This move is designed to sideline William, to cut him out of royal discussions, while Harry pretends he's still a player in palace affairs. But he's not. He hasn't been for 5 years. And pretending otherwise is both delusional and insulting. And let's not ignore the emotional toll this has taken on the royal family, especially the king. Charles, already dealing with cancer treatments, is reportedly not even interested in meeting Harry when he returns to the UK in September. Not because he's being cruel, but because, frankly, he doesn't have the strength for another Sussex drama session. He's on holiday at Balmoral, trying to stay calm and focused. The last thing he needs is his runaway son demanding reconciliation while prepping for Spare 2. Yes, you heard that right. Insiders say Harry's working on a follow-up to his explosive memoir. And if the first book made headlines for attacking Camilla, revealing frozen genitalia, and whining about palace sausage rations, we can only imagine what the sequel will hold. More complaints? More betrayal? Maybe another batch of half-truths and private jabs designed to humiliate his family while cashing another $4 million advance? The message couldn't be clearer. Reconciliation is not healing, it's a business strategy. Every olive branch comes with a dollar sign attached. Every leaked photo, every diary offer, every tabloid leak. It all feeds the brand. And as long as Harry remains tied to Meghan, nothing is sacred and nothing is safe. And yet, even as this chaos swirls, some in the press are actively pushing the narrative that Harry and Meghan deserve to come back. That the royal family should just forgive, forget, and pretend none of this ever happened. But if they do, if King Charles gives in, if William is pressured to welcome back the brother who sold him out, then they're opening the door to a fresh round of betrayal. They're handing the keys to the kingdom to two people who have shown time and again they can't be trusted with it. And if that happens, make no mistake, they've won. Meghan will get what she wants: access, visibility, relevance, and Harry will get cover, sympathy, and a fresh excuse to keep milking his royal roots while torching the very institution that gave him everything. All while the rest of the family walks on eggshells, hoping the next leak or lawsuit doesn't come from Montecito. So what now? Well, if this latest disappearance tells us anything, it's this. Harry isn't just lost in Africa. He's lost in life. He's spiraling, caught between a past he torched and a future that won't hold. And unless the royal family draws a hard line, this chaos will never stop. No contact, no security, no Meghan. For 3 days, Harry went silent. Question is, what happens when he speaks again? But let's not forget one of the most chilling undertones of this whole saga: the absolute silence from Meghan herself. For someone who rarely misses a PR opportunity, who can schedule a glossy Instagram post at the exact moment Catherine makes a royal appearance, her reaction to Harry's disappearance was nothing. No statement. No carefully worded "sources say Meghan is concerned." Not even a blurry paparazzi photo to hint at emotional distress. Which leads many to wonder, was Meghan truly blindsided, or was this entire thing orchestrated? Because here's the thing. Meghan doesn't stay quiet when she's genuinely upset. We've seen her spiral in real time. Remember the Queen's funeral? The awkward flower walkabout with William and Catherine? Meghan looked completely lost, overwhelmed, clutching Harry like a lifeline. Or that moment during her podcast collapse when she lashed out about being unfiltered, unbothered, and unapologetic, only for the public to promptly label her unemployed. Meghan doesn't handle losing control well. So Harry disappearing without her approval? That would have set off sirens in Montecito. Some insiders say she was furious, that she frantically called aides, tried to track him through their security channels, and even reached out to TJ Evans directly, only to be blocked or ignored. True, that suggests more than just a troubled marriage. That suggests Harry may finally be pulling away, seeking refuge with the only person who knew him before the circus began. Someone who represents his most grounded, honest self, far away from royal obligations and Hollywood PR. And if Meghan really was kept out of the loop, then her silence wasn't calm. It was strategy, damage control. After all, you can't spin a narrative if you don't have all the pieces. So instead of reacting emotionally, she waited, calculated. Because in Meghan's world, everything is about optics. You don't speak until you know which way the wind is blowing. And in this case, the wind might be blowing Harry right out of her grasp. Meanwhile, back in the UK, royal insiders are scrambling. Not because they're desperate to bring Harry home, but because the media pressure is becoming impossible to ignore. The Daily Telegraph, once the Queen's go-to paper, is now publishing commentary urging reconciliation, calling on King Charles and Prince William to accept Harry's peace offering. But it's a trap. A coordinated effort, say critics, to reframe the Sussex saga not as betrayal, but as family healing. Angela Levin and other royal experts are warning against it. Loudly, they argue that any attempt to bring Harry back, especially while he's still tethered to Meghan, is not reconciliation, it's self-sabotage. And they're right. The royal family has spent years trying to clean up the wreckage left by Harry and Meghan's exit. The Oprah interview, the Netflix docuseries, the relentless attacks in Spare. Bringing him back now would undo all of that. And worse, it would reward the very behavior that tore the family apart. And yet, it's happening. Behind closed doors, aides are talking, meetings are being scheduled. Sources say Harry has a visit planned for September, where he'll attend the Well Child Awards in London. And he wants to use that opportunity to speak privately with his father. But Buckingham Palace is stalling. Charles is still in Balmoral. His health remains fragile. And while the official excuse is scheduling conflict, the real reason is emotional fatigue. Charles simply can't stomach another heart-wrenching confrontation with the son who turned his back on everything. The sad truth? This isn't just a royal crisis. It's a family tragedy. A father who still loves his son but doesn't recognize the man he's become. A brother who no longer believes in forgiveness. A monarchy that's been battered by scandal and betrayal, and maybe walking straight into another one. And through it all, Meghan is waiting, watching, planning. She knows the media cycle better than anyone. She knows that if Harry walks back into the royal fold, even temporarily, it reactivates their brand, opens new doors, revives the Sussex name even if just for a moment. That's why she's staying quiet. 'Cause silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. But here's the million-dollar question, Irvin. What happens if Harry doesn't come back? What if this disappearance wasn't a meltdown, but a soft exit, test run, quiet separation? What if Harry went to Africa not to escape pressure, but to imagine a life without Meghan? A return to the places and people that made him feel real, grounded, free. Botswana isn't just a vacation spot for him, it's sacred. It's where he went after losing Diana. It's where he bonded with Chelsea Davy. It's where he proposed to Meghan. It's the one place he's always gone to rediscover himself. And this time, he may not have wanted to come back. Now think about what that means. A prince who fled the palace to find freedom, now fleeing that so-called freedom to find peace. No Netflix cameras, no Hollywood handlers, no Archewell schedules or tabloid interviews. Just 3 days in the bush with a woman he calls mom and no one else. If that doesn't scream identity crisis, I don't know what does. And yet, there's still danger ahead. Because even if Harry wakes up and decides to walk away from it all, Meghan, Hollywood, the press machine, it won't be clean. It won't be easy. There are contracts, lawyers, financial entanglements, and most of all, secrets. The kind that keep both parties silent until someone decides they no longer want to be. Which is exactly what Netflix is banking on. Insiders say they've been quietly prepping for alternative Sussex content, a fancy way of saying divorce drama. They know the numbers. The Sussex fairy tale isn't profitable anymore, but a Sussex fallout? That's big money. That's streaming gold. Meghan's truth, Harry's redemption, custody battle for Archie and Lily, the backdoor betrayal, the Oprah sequel. It's all there, waiting to be filmed. So here's where we are: a prince who disappears, a wife who goes quiet, and a royal family being baited into one last reconciliation that may just be their undoing. The warning signs are everywhere. Harry's behavior is spiraling. Meghan's grip appears to be loosening. Press is shifting gears. Palace is walking a tightrope. And the public? We're watching it unfold in real time. A slow-motion train wreck with no breaks in sight. And maybe, just maybe, that's what Harry wanted all along. To finally break the cycle. To disappear long enough that people would stop asking where he stands. Because the truth is, he doesn't know anymore. Gone for 3 days. No contact. No Meghan. No security. Just a prince alone in the wild trying to remember who he really is.